There's a woman who enters a space and the energy reorganizes around her. It's hard to put into words. She's not the most dramatic figure, not the most adorned, but your gaze lands on her and it doesn't leave. That's Linda Wright, a boutique owner based in Paris, a woman with a deeply intentional wardrobe, and someone who has quietly built one of the most magnetic personal styles online. And what strikes me most, she doesn't create that presence by piling things on. She creates it through what she removes. Today, I'm walking you through 5 popular items Linda flat out refuses to wear, and why her thinking could reshape how you get dressed every day. And when we reach number 4, I believe you'll see something about style most of us were never shown. Hey everyone, welcome back. If this is your first time here, I'm Parker Holloway, and today we're exploring one of the most eye-opening style studies I've encountered, Linda Wright, and more specifically, the things she deliberately avoids. Because often what a truly stylish woman won't put on reveals far more than what she chooses to wear. So let's dive right in. Number 1, she doesn't wear trendy statement accessories. I want to tread carefully here, because Linda does wear accessories, that's not the point. What she steers clear of are those loud, seasonally driven, suddenly everywhere pieces that take over every shop window each spring and fall. The oversized logo earrings, the charm necklace layering trend, the chunky resin bangles in this year's must-have color. None of that enters her rotation, and the part that fascinates me is the logic underneath it. Every time you grab a trend-heavy accessory, you're really adopting somebody else's definition of what looks good right now, and you can sense it. Linda's accessories, the ones she does wear, feel completely personal, like they arrived in her life years ago, like they were selected with care and never reconsidered. There's something incredibly compelling about that permanence. We've all experienced buying into a trend only to feel sheepish about it 6 months later. Linda avoids that loop entirely. And the real-world benefit? Once you stop chasing trend accessories, you open up space in your budget and your collection for that one gorgeous, enduring piece that will feel perfectly right a decade from now. If accessories are something you truly enjoy, I'm not asking you to abandon them. Just pause and ask, does this belong to me or does it belong to the moment? Number 2, she doesn't wear overly casual athleisure outside the home. I realize this one might land a bit sharply, since athleisure has settled in as the go-to comfort uniform for so many of us. And believe me, I understand the appeal. But Linda maintains a firm boundary between comfortable and put together. Her conviction, and I agree, is that wearing something intentional, even for a routine errand, shifts how you hold yourself. It shifts the way you feel moving through a street. It shifts how the world responds to you. Athleisure has its place, the gym, your living room, a marathon travel day, but as a stand-in for an actual outfit, even a relaxed, unfussy, well-considered one, Linda won't go there. Instead, she seeks out pieces that feel effortless without reading as undone. A smartly tailored pair of trousers with a relaxed top delivers the same ease as a tracksuit, but the effect on how you navigate your day is entirely different. And here's something worth holding on to. This connects directly to what Linda does in number 5, which I think might be the most quietly powerful decision of all. Stay with me on that. Number 3, she doesn't wear ill-fitting classics. This is where Linda becomes truly fascinating. She adores classic staples, a beautiful trench, a sharp blazer, a clean white shirt. But she will not wear a classic piece that no longer fits the body she has right now, today. While that might sound like common sense spoken aloud, most of us are moving through our days in cherished garments that have quietly stopped serving us. A blazer that tugs at the shoulders, trousers that sit fine on the hip but gape at the waist, a coat that no longer drapes the way it once did. Linda is completely resolute on this. A classic that doesn't fit properly isn't really a classic, it's simply something old. And this is such a liberating realization because it shifts the objective away from holding on to everything indefinitely. The real goal is to wear what fits beautifully on the body you're living in right now, not the body from a decade ago, not some imagined future version, this one. A modest investment in alterations, even hemming a trouser or bringing in a jacket, can elevate a garment from merely adequate to something that looks truly remarkable. This is one of Linda's most understated advantages, and it's something every one of us can access. Now, everything I've walked you through so far, with enough thought and experimentation, you could probably land on these conclusions yourself. But numbers 4 and 5 are a different story. These require genuine clarity to arrive at, and most women don't quite reach them. Number 4, she doesn't wear anything that requires constant adjustment. This one strikes me as beautifully simple in its wisdom. Linda will not put on a garment that demands her attention while she's living in it, a top that keeps slipping off one shoulder, a waistband that gradually rides up, a neckline that needs constant repositioning, a belt that won't stay tucked. She walks away from every one of those. And at first glance, that might seem like a small quirk, but consider what it really implies. When your clothes aren't occupying your thoughts, you're fully present. You're engaged in conversation. You're moving with freedom, thinking with clarity, focused on the people around you and the room you're in. There is something profoundly self-assured about a woman who has forgotten what she's wearing, who is simply existing inside her clothes rather than wrestling with them. It means you understand your body, that you've tested your wardrobe before wearing it into the world, and that you're prepared to release things that are lovely but functionally distracting. Because something beautiful loses its value if you spend the evening adjusting it. And that brings us to the final item on this list, which I believe sits at the core of everything Linda grasps about style that most of us are still working to understand. Number 5, she doesn't wear anything that makes her feel she needs to explain herself. This is the one that matters most. This is the principle beneath every other decision on this list. Linda Wright gets dressed with a kind of intentional clarity that reaches well past aesthetics. She will not put on a garment that leaves her feeling unsure, wondering whether it's too much, too youthful, too vivid, too daring, or too anything. Not because she plays it safe, she doesn't. Linda's style is bold and specific, but every choice comes from a place of total personal conviction. She doesn't dress according to what's expected of a woman at her stage of life. She doesn't dress to broadcast wealth or effort or awareness of what's current. She wears what is entirely, unmistakably hers. And I believe for so many of us, particularly past 50, this is the most difficult destination to reach because we've spent decades taking in messages about how we ought to present ourselves. What's suitable, what's flattering, what's age-appropriate, what crosses the line into trying too hard. Linda appears to have released all of that weight. What remains is simply her. And I think that's exactly why she carries the presence she does when she enters a room. It isn't the garments, it's the sureness with which she wears them. And that sureness, that calm, immovable ownership of how she presents herself, has nothing to do with age. It's something that grows more accessible the further along in life you travel. Because you've done the work, you know who you are. All that's left is deciding to believe it. That woman who steps into any space and effortlessly captures attention, she isn't wearing more than you. She isn't younger or wealthier or better adorned. She has simply found peace with her own vision of who she is. She's stopped justifying and started simply living. The question I'd like to leave you with: what would you put on tomorrow morning if you completely believed in yourself? Next week, I'm exploring a woman whose approach could not be more different, bold, layered, expressive, and entirely her own. And I think setting her philosophy alongside Linda's will reveal something valuable about how personal style actually works. That's coming soon, and you'll want to be here for it. All right, everyone, that wraps up Linda Wright and the 5 popular items she simply refuses to wear. I hope this video gave you something useful and maybe even a spark of inspiration. If it did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and subscribe so you're here for everything coming next. I'd love to hear from you. Is there a piece in your closet you've been holding on to even though it's stopped feeling like you? Tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at the handle in the description below. As always, thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.